Hey y'all. I do want to tell my story of my last or my biggest, not my last, my worst. Probably I would say it was my worst because it tore my life apart. A manic episode that I had full blown. The reason why I want to tell this is because I keep having people don't they keep like well they will ask, you weren't on drugs, you weren't on alcohol, you sure you know. No, honesty, I was going to church faithfully and I was married to my ex-husband for 16 years with 4 kids. Okay. Well, two of them were his from a previous marriage, but we were raising them, and we had one together, and then I had one from a previous marriage, but a boy, a son from a previous marriage, and then we had a daughter together, and then he had a son and a daughter from a previous marriage. So we had we had 3 teenagers. Actually, my son was he was going to college when this happened. That's what triggered my the it's what triggered it. But I was having, unbeknownst to anyone, I had been having episodes for years. For years. I just didn't know what they were. Then we were going to church, and I kept thinking that I was hearing God, which in the church that we were going to, that was acceptable. It was not even questioned a lot of the time. But I now know that I was having psychotic episodes. It was getting bad. It was, I was having psychotic episodes, probably like hearing voices and seeing visions that I thought were from God. And honestly, they were bipolar. It was mental illness. And the thing is, it's not always, not every thing was, because I did hear from the Lord. I did pray all the time, and I did have real experiences with God. I'm not going to sit here and tell that was all not real, but a lot of it, some of it, that I experienced on my own, like when I would pray at home and I would say, oh, I heard God say this, and I mean, we uprooted our whole life on a vision I had and moved our kids, and I'm just saying it turned out disastrously, and it wasn't all bad though. It really wasn't. We did some good things, but it's just, people, you've got to really, I don't know. It's very important that because I was just so stressed. I was depressed. I wanted to die almost every single day there. The last, especially, I was suicidal. I had suicidal thoughts. But I didn't tell anybody. I did not tell a soul, because it just wasn't, you just didn't talk about, I couldn't even tell my husband that. And I didn't have anybody, but I prayed, and I prayed continuously. And I just thought, God, you're going to take care of it eventually, I did not drink a drop of liquor, did not take a drug. I wasn't taking nothing, no drugs. And I snapped like it was, yeah. I was on a rant, full-blown manic episode for months. For months. I would say months, yes. I left my husband. I did things I'm not going to mention. Like, I was out of touch. Yes, very much so was I out of touch with reality. Should have been hospitalized because I'm not saying, I mean, my marriage was very unhappy, but we might have could have worked it out if we had known what was going on. But by the time, anybody was, knew that anything was wrong, it was just, I was not listening to anybody. I was out of touch. I was not going to listen to it, and not anybody. Not God Himself could have came down and said, I wouldn't have listened. I was out of touch with reality by then. And no, it doesn't take a drug. No, it doesn't. You can't be diagnosed with bipolar if it's because of a drug or alcohol. You can't, And yes, drug and a drug or alcohol definitely can make it worse and can trigger some things. But no, I had a full blown out of touch. Should have been hospitalized, manic, full blown, destroyed my life, left my husband of 16 years, left my kids devastated. And when I came crashing down from all that destruction that I caused, not saying it was all my fault because we had problems and I don't know if they could have been worked out. I was miserable. I wasn't happy. But maybe they could have, because once I came down out of the touch, where I was, oh my God, it was like somebody pulled the floor out from underneath me. I just crashed like I have never crashed before. I wanted to die. I had so much guilt, so much depression. That's the first time I ever attempted to overdose. That's the first time I attempted suicide. And so, that was the first time I was hospitalized. They still didn't diagnose me with bipolar disorder. Major depression is what because I didn't tell them all that. I didn't tell them everything I did. I was embarrassed. I was ashamed. Even if I would have told him, because once I finally got to a psychiatrist, told him everything, he didn't believe, he looked at me and said, I just can't imagine, He thought I was exaggerating. He didn't, and it took me getting to having another major episode that he saw for him to believe. And you know what? You read about bipolar disorder, you might only have a major manic episode 1 or 2 times in your whole life. A lot of people, they might not have but one. They only have to have one to be diagnosed. I was having multiple episodes, like multiple. It's like no one believed me. No one took me seriously. Well, I'm not saying like no one in my family knew what it was, and I didn't either. And then when my friend said, you're bipolar, and I said, you're crazy. I am not bipolar. And then when they tried to diagnose me with it, and it wasn't even my psychiatrist because he just didn't. Gosh, he just kept saying, depression, and ADD, and a little bit of this, and not bipolar though. And then he saw it with his own eyes, and he was like, I think I should have believed you. Like, you know what? Just because I wasn't having a manic episode every other day and he didn't see it, he saw me depressed all the time. He should know. He was a psychiatrist that, that a lot of times people and they won't have manic episodes. They'll have more depressed episodes. And then I was going through spells where I was having manic episodes, one after the other. And that's when he realized, and then I had a mixed episode, and it was horrible. Oh, God. So then, yeah, bashing my head on the floor, All this negative energy with all this rage and anger and all this. Trust me, you don't ever want to have a mixed episode. But that's what happens when people don't know what's going on. And then when you reach out for help, they give you all the wrong answers. It's like, I honestly want people to know. That's why I'm doing these videos. People, you got to know you can't wait like that. You can't. I had been having episodes since I was 19 years old. And I didn't know. I just knew something, was wrong. Something was wrong. Yes, something was wrong. But please, if you have these symptoms, if you have problems like this, get help before you have to go through it like I did. You don't want to put your family and your kids through that. You really don't. And then you got to go through all the healing, and your kids have to heal, and they have to learn to trust you again. And it's horrible. But no, you don't have to have alcohol. You don't have to have drugs. Bipolar disorder is real, and it's bad. It can be cured, though. It can't not cured. It can be controlled if you don't wait until you're just, like I did. And part of it wasn't even my fault. I just didn't know. I thought I was doing everything, and then I got mad. I got mad at God, and I got mad at the world, and I am 56 years old. It's been over 10 years since my divorce. I'm still single. I've never had a relationship since that. Really, my online relationship, I don't know if you can count that. But you know what? It took a toll on my life. Like, I didn't think anything would ever be okay again after that. And but I'm happier now. I'm happier. I'm more content. I like myself. I think I've said that. I've been going through a lot of healing and stuff that I needed to, traumas that had happened to me in my life, or that needed to be healed. And just, I still have hope someday. I could find somebody, and I could find someone. I don't, but if I don't, I'm fine. I just need to get out more. I don't need to seclude myself like this. But and I have a lot of online friends. I do karaoke online. Music is a big, big thing. Helps me so much. Therapy. I didn't even know I could sing. It's not that great, but you know what? I've learned so much about myself that I didn't know. I just was living for everyone else to please other people before I was doing what I thought I should do and what the right thing was, but it wasn't the right thing for me. And that's the thing. You got to please you first. You got to love you first. You got to know, and you got to look in the mirror and be able to say, I like that person. You can't just be living for, your husband and your kids. You got to have you. And the thing is, I love my kids more than anything, but I can't love them like I should if I don't love myself, and if I don't put myself, up there to get myself, not say put myself first, but love myself. Do things for myself, have me time. And now they're older, they're adults. And then I thought, gosh, I'll go nuts, because I didn't want him to grow up. I wanted him to stay, and I was one of those hovering parents. So, but I realized that I couldn't do that. That was wrong too. That's just as bad as the other, you can't just, you have to have your own life. Your kids are not always going to be kids. And you're not always going to have a husband, maybe. You got to live for you. You got to learn what you love and what you want out of life. Because if you don't, there might be some time you're really going to wish you did, and you're going to have to. But anyway, I just wanted to tell that story because it really is important people know, and know the signs and know the symptoms, and get help quick as you can if you know that if you need to, because there's no shame in getting help. None whatsoever. It's way better than the alternative. Thank you.